Hello, and welcome to Iacon Underground Radio for the week of March 27th, 2019. I'm Jen.
And I'm David.
So, a little bit of news this week, a few sightings, and then we are going to discuss the rapid-fire release of the second issue of the, I guess we could just call it Transformers 2019, which will be great in like 5 years. Assuming it's still going in 5 years, which seems like a really generous assumption. Yeah,
it was much easier, like, to be able to call a comic series by who was publishing them.
Yeah, that was...
Now that
or,
has
like,
been thrown off.
A subtitle, or...
Yeah.
Nope. This is just Transformers. The only distinguishing characteristic you get is the year that it's coming out, and I feel like that's probably entirely appropriate. Because that's about the only distinguishing characteristic.
Well, I guess we could call it, like, NuIDW or something.
That sounds like...
IDW 2.
That sounds like something that someone put some thought into. which seems awful generous. But we will get to that. First, various Siege toys have continued showing up at actual stores. There has been talk of Michigan getting the Cybertron/Galaxy Force style Optimus Prime. I know I have personally been seeing Siege Wave 2 Deluxes showing up in, mostly Walmart.
Which ones are in
but
Wave
they're getting
2?
easier to find.
What's in Wave 2? I'm not sure I've seen it.
Chromia and some guys I don't care about because they're guys.
Oh. Then maybe I haven't seen them. Of course, I only found Shockwave like a week or two ago.
Shockwave has been becoming more reliable. I saw Soundwave a few days ago.
I haven't seen him yet.
I've seen Starscream. Those are getting a little more reliable to find. So if you haven't had any luck and you're not someone who just orders all this stuff off the internet up front, then...
I'm getting there. I probably should. It's harder to find shit.
Yeah, I've also seen some people on Twitter pointing out when Amazon, because Amazon is super unreliable for toys. It's just like, at least for action figures, I don't know how like preschool toys do there.
It's not even just that. It's like when they do have stuff, it seems to jump in price because it goes through secondary marketer sellers, so it's a pain in the butt.
They
to use
don't seem to bother carrying a lot of it themselves. But
unless it's exclusives and they sell out quick.
But there do seem to be, there have been reports popping up on Twitter of those coming into stock on Amazon for retail price. So that's definitely worth keeping an eye out on. Toys. Apparently Studio Series stuff is also...
Yes.
I haven't really been keeping up at all with that.
Whatever Wave Shatter, the car version is out.
That is something I would actually consider purchasing from Studio Series.
Yes, if I see that.
And some of the Constructicons are showing up too, right?
A foot and, well, actually, maybe 2 feet.
What?
Or a knee, something. There's a red foot, which is, I think, the pogo stick guy, and there was one other one out, but...
What about the testicles?
They're big and they're expensive.
Are the testicles there yet?
No, the testicle guy, I don't think has shown up yet. I don't think. I think that was Hightower, and I think we've only seen pictures of him, and I don't think he comes with that.
Okay.
I don't know. I as cool as that would be, that's a thing I don't need.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be expensive.
It's definitely, it's a very ambitious toy. And I guess I'm glad that they're doing it, even though my interest in movie stuff is basically limited to seeing Sideswipe being like, oh, I like him, and then remembering that I don't like him, I just like his design, because he as a character is completely non-existent, just a cipher, a placeholder for character Autobot B. So,
yeah, but he does have very nice, or he did have very nice toy, the original one that came out. I should have got the sword for Deco, but anyway. Yeah, Studio Theories and other things are coming out. Oh, and BotBots.
Yes, Series 2 BotBots are showing up, at least in California. I'm not sure which store, but they are definitely, if you are into the BotBots, you can tell those at a glance because instead of a red bubble, they have a green bubble. So that makes it easier to tell from half an aisle away if you don't feel like walking down the entire aisle at the Walmart. I've certainly never been there. Okay, maybe I have. But, so that's another exciting thing to keep an eye out for if you are looking for that in the old brick and mortar stores. Other news, there is, sort of Transformers adjacent, kind of. There is a new, Death's Head limited series coming out. Very exciting!
Well, it's nice to see Death's Head again, and then he's getting a comic book with probably a cover for each issue by Nick Roche, or at least he's doing one of the first ones. But it's one of our favorite artists from the recent IDW stuff, other than Nick Roche. Kei-Zama is doing the interiors.
Like, the absolute most appropriate artist to be doing it, because that's like that sort of
her style is like yes, it's like UK comics from the 90s made even more awesome. It's definitely
that like, Derek Yaniger or Jeff Senior sort of style, and Judge Dredd-ish, because I think she actually did some stuff for 2000 AD, but I don't think it was just Judge Dredd. Just one of their other things that is not Judge Dredd. Yeah. It is going to be written by Teenie Howard, who I have not actually read anything by, but whose Twitter profile sounds very promising. And it was actually announced at a Women of Marvel panel. So that's pretty exciting. He is going to be hanging out with Wiccan and Hulkling, which...
What scale is he going to be this time? Because last time, well, when he showed up in like the Shield comic, he was like big Transformer size.
Yeah, he was in...
I guess he was smaller.
He was in the Sword comic when, he was Transformer sized.
Sword, that was it.
And I believe when he showed up in Iron Man, he was also Transformer sized. Basically, he's shown up in some recent Marvel stuff that was written by Kieran Gillen, because Kieran Gillen is a British writer who grew up in the 80s, and therefore he has an abiding love of Transformers UK, and just put Death's Head in a bunch of stuff, put him in an Iron Man series he was doing. I'm not sure where he showed up after that, because frankly I stopped getting monthlies somewhere around there.
Yeah, he might have popped them in X-Men or something, but who knows, because I've fallen off most stuff except for like Spider-Man, and even then I'm behind on.
Yeah, based on the covers, it looks like, well, at least one of the covers, it looks like he's going to be back to being a tall person size. I don't know, maybe he ran into Doctor Who again. I guess.
Yeah, and on the cover Nick Roche drew, Nick Roche being Nick Roche, he included a reference to Dragon's Claw.
Yes!
Or some other obscure British comic book that I never heard of.
That was another one that Simon Furman and Jeff Senior worked on in the late 80s, early 90s. It was just sort of I don't know if I could describe it very well. It was like the future, and there were these mercenaries, but they all sort of had like superhero things going on. But
so like every other British Marvel comic book.
Yes, it was very Marvel UK. I believe I recall reading that Wizard, the now only dedicated to buying up local comic conventions and destroying them, former publisher.
Oh.
Back in their magazine, when they actually published a magazine, Dragon's Claws was voted as worst logo for that year. But I picked up most, if not all, of that series back in my high school days when I was digging through crates at used bookstores. So it was definitely a Simon Furman, Jeff Sr. joint. So that's an absolute... And yeah, Death's Head showed up in that too, because... See, the thing with Death's Head is that he tends to be, like, almost inherently unstuck in time. He does a lot of just... I don't even think it's usually, like, intentional time travel. He just ends up getting knocked around in time a lot.
In the original stuff, it kind of was confusing, and then there was the Doctor Who involvement, but I think Kieran Gillen, when he did that, he played up like he was out of time.
Yeah. Because, well, he first showed up, his very, very, very first appearance was a one-page strip called High Noon Tex, which ran in what was basically, if you're at all familiar with Marvel Age, which was...
that stuff.
Yeah, back in the 80s and 90s, it was a comic format sort of magazine that Marvel put out.
Yeah.
That just had, like, interviews with, like, I remember reading them running an interview with Bob Forward about their Biker Mice from Mars comic tie-in they were doing, and the most useful thing was it had a schedule of what was coming out on which week every month. But basically, they ran this one-page strip in the UK equivalent of that, which I think was actually called Strip. And that secured the rights to him for Marvel, so Simon could then go ahead and use him in Transformers without him becoming Hasbro property. Even though I guess in a way he is now Hasbro property in that Hasbro has the Marvel action figure license. So,
yeah.
A+. I actually have the original art for High Noon Tex. It is framed and will probably go back up on my wall at some point whenever I get around putting things on walls again.
Put that up, take a picture.
Yes. So yeah, once he was involved in a Transformers storyline that itself involved time travel, because it had Unicron and all this other stuff going on. So when Unicron was defeated, there was sort of a, usually in decent fiction, when something just suddenly disappears from a space, there's like a vacuum suddenly, and Death's Head was pulled into this like hole in space and time that was closing up. And that's when he ran into Doctor Who, who shrunk him down to human size.
Who was annoyed by him.
Yes.
And just stuck him. It's like, no, you're going over there. Stop causing trouble.
Yes, he shrunk him down to human size, and then he sent him to the Dragon's Claws timeline.
Okay. And none of this will probably come up in the comic.
No.
Well, unless Kazama throws in some obscure references.
Yes.
She probably talks to Nick Roche.
Yes. I mean, I could not imagine that she is not also familiar with Dragon's Claws. Considering her clear artistic influences. So that's pretty exciting. Also, it's pretty exciting that they're using Wiccan and Hulkling, which I don't know if you are at all familiar with them.
No, I know. They were in, they were in some comic I read. They're
primarily in Young Avengers, which actually we get back to
was what I read.
Kieran Gillen, because while Death's Head did not show up in that, it was still written by Kieran Gillen. He resisted the urge.
Yeah. What? Wait, is Kieran Gillen the phonogram guy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I did read at least part of that run. Okay. Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And had Teenage Loki. I love Teenage Loki. I love all Lokis.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's, I guess, I mean, I don't know if the cover is actually representative or if it's metaphorical. So I don't know if Death's Head is actually the drummer for their band, but nice cover anyway.
Or if Death's Head gets a mohawk.
Yes, I mean, he could have a magnet and just stick it on.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
Anyway, that's been a long Death's Head digression.
He is sufficiently Transformers adjacent, I feel.
Yes, he is.
So yeah, not a whole lot else going on. Anything else before we dive into comics? I think there was something, there are extras showing up from the Bumblebee Blu-ray set.
Oh, yeah, the Blu-ray set, they had, like, pictures of almost all the robots that show up in the first 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Bumblebee, Brawn and stuff, and they list RC's, one of her alt modes is like a spider, because they went to... Yes! I'm not sure if they went to the wiki or if they went to just Wikipedia to get their information, but for some reason on the Shockwave model, on his right forearm, there's an Autobot symbol.
Mm-hmm. Dun dun dun.
And it's just one. It's not like it's a line of them like it's a kill count. It's just one Autobot symbol.
Maybe he's like Starscream in Prime, and he's killed one Autobot, and he wants everyone to know it.
Well, the problem is it's all scuffed up and the paint's rubbed off, so you can just barely even see. It's just weird.
So it is a kill count. It's just Prime Starscream.
It's
Why?
Really old.
Settle down.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of news. The only other stuff is, Bumblebee came out in Japan, and the voice actress for Shatter, we know on our other podcast because she voices Boar in Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, Gridman.
Yep.
And she made tweets about how she wished she was Bumblebee's mama.
I mean...
Which feels really weird coming from the person who voices Shatter.
Still relatable. It's very relatable.
Yes.
Lorenzo Di Bonaventura has been going around just sort of
talking again,
sticking his foot in his mouth all over the place, talking about how there are going to be more Transformers movies, but they're gonna bay it back up. And it's like, please no. Did you learn nothing? It was
confusing and weird. It was like he was saying at the same time, it's like, it's gonna be more Bay, but it's also gonna be more Bumblebee, and robots might fuck or something.
Did he actually say that, or was it, because I feel like that was just clickbait
the article writer just read, it's clickbait extrapolation bullshit, but it's like, it sounded like he was talking out his ass. He's just a producer, admitted producer on most of the other movies, but I'm remembering back to like bullshit that was coming out like after the first movie, and when they were talking about trying to get G.I. Joe made and all kinds of crap, and just garbage would fall out of his mouth.
But yeah,
so don't believe any of that goddamn shit.
Yeah, don't believe any of that. But still,
no more,
you know,
maybe some more explosions, but no more. Bay has made 5 fucking movies. Let him retire. Let him make more Pearl Harbor or Pain and Gain or whatever the fuck else. He's got enough money.
Yeah.
Please keep him away from the movie. Let somebody else play.
But I do, like...
Anyone else?
I feel like his comments were a good seg into the new ongoing comic, because he's talking about how, like, we never see the Transformers having, like, an emotional relationship with each other, and, you know, that's something we never see. Okay, I feel like from now on, in order to be able to work creatively on a Transformers story, you need to have, like, a quiz of, like, the previous IDW Transformers stuff to, like, show that you have read and understand it.
And the writer on this, Brian Ruckley, in like 2 different interviews, one said he'd read the IDW stuff and really liked it. It was some of his favorite stuff. And in another interview, it's like, oh, I didn't know people would react badly to killing Brainstorm.
In the first interview, though, he also refers to Cyberverse as smart, and Cyberverse was enjoyable enough, but I would absolutely not call it smart. That's like the last thing I would call it. So, just... Because, yeah, onto the comic, it continues to be just...
Vexing? Vexing is what I'm thinking of.
Here's a thing. Okay, the thing about Lorenzo I'm not as good at that as I am with, like, comic writer names.
Who's what?
But...
The artist names?
No, the movie guy.
Oh, yeah, I don't fucking remember.
It reminds me of back with the Dreamwave comics. And they were so, like, proud of themselves. They thought they were being so cool and original for nuking San Francisco. And San Francisco got nuked in the G2 comic. It's like, it wasn't even them nuking a human city. It was specifically San Francisco.
Okay, that it's San Francisco again, really weird, but to be fair, not many people remember G2. I never read G2.
But I read G2 as it was...
part of G2 since.
I read it as it was coming out. That was one of those things that I was getting the release week for. It was week 3. I think Generation X was week 3 at one point, too, so it was... But different times, because Transformers G2 didn't last that long.
Nuking the same city and saying it's dramatic, it's weird. But, yeah, this... I didn't really read much into the interviews other than, wow, that was weird in the comments. But this comic is... It exists and...
Yeah. But yeah, if you feel... If you're ever going to start feeling like what you're doing is somehow new and original, you should have to, like, make sure that it's actually new and original. Because...
the take on it is acting like it's new and original because it's a new continuity. The problem is it just reminds me of an old throwaway issue of Generation 1 comic by Marvel where Nightbeat has to solve crimes on a foreign planet. And okay.
So you're saying this reminds you of... I would say that it does not hold up against Bird of Prey.
Well, no,
Bird of Prey was a much better story than this.
Well, Bird of Prey, the mystery was the focus of this. The mystery of the murder of Brainstorm is kind of a back seat in this story, which is an odd way to take it, but I guess you're setting up the world and what differences are, but the differences from the past IDW are confusing. Like, there's a little silicon-eating bug thing crawling around on the planet.
Yeah, and
it's not as confusing as the fucking monkeys, because it actually looks like an alien creature.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying before about how if the monkeys had actually looked like aliens and not monkeys, then they would have been much more acceptable. This falls into that same sort of realm. On the other hand, it's not like Transformers have never lived completely independent of other life forms before. Like, did you see any of Season 3 of G1? I mean, obviously not, but see some of Season 3 of G1.
It's just the fact that, like, this little critter reminds us there are organic life forms on Cybertron, but they haven't been brought, like... Bumblebee should have, at some point, taken Rubble to, like, a diplomatic embassy and walk through there and, here's a bunch of different aliens that are on Cybertron. Okay, there's a thing.
That would have been much more interesting.
Unless this is setting up that like, organic things on Cybertron are really fucking weird, and that's the actual mystery, but it's...
I was gonna say maybe it's setting up that the organic things killed Brainstorm, which would be...
That's the only indication I've gotten so far. I mean, that's the only possible theory right now, because there are no suspects. There's no focus on that.
Yeah, so it's just... Also, decompressed storytelling needs to die.
Well, the problem is it's Bumblebee giving Little Rubble a tour of Cybertron for 2 issues, which is probably going to continue for the next 2 or 3.
How long are trade paperbacks these days? 5 issues?
5 issues, 6 issues sometimes. I think 5 is the standard. I think IDW goes by that. So there's a big twist in issue 5 or something. It's... The tourism thing of a new Cybertronian isn't a bad idea for story. The problem is, it's a very slow tourism, and there's a murder mystery that hasn't happened in millions of years on Cybertron, which is hard to believe. But it's weird, like, Cybertronians live for so long, we outlive all these little organics that we barely mention in throwaway passages, but that no one has accidentally died or been murdered in millions of years. Since Bumblebee was a fresh new spark, seems weird.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have personal conflict, so that's...
Yes, it's going to come up at some time. Like, if it said, okay, maybe in 1,000 years, or 100 years, but that it feels like it's been millions. Well, I guess they don't specify the time, but it seems like a long time.
Right. It seems like an unreasonably long time.
Yeah.
And it's... So, I mean, yeah, there's Chromia and there's Prowl, Buy Our Toys. It is a little bit Buy Our Toys, frankly.
Yeah, well, it's not, I don't have a problem with that. Although it's odd that it's a Bumblebee model that looks a lot like G1, and I don't know if he's getting a toy that looks like that anytime soon, or is he? And I'm still confused by the fact that Orion Pax is Cybertron Optimus Prime. That's distracting.
Yes. I will say that Wheeljack was very enjoyable. He's very
Wheeljack
likable.
is back to G1 Wheeljack. He's Wheeljack. It was nice. I could hear his G1 voice in my head. That was fun. Yes. Wheeljack was okay. It's just...
But
it's a lot of nothing happening until Megatron holds a rally and it goes to a different artist, which I liked and hated more at the same time, because Megatron and Soundwave are drawn exactly like the new toys, to the point where you could see the gaps where the hands fold in, and the little flip down things on the back of Megatron's shoulders, and the little pegs where the little blaster things peg on. But all the generics, the generics in the crowd look really, really good.
I have not seen characters in Transformers look so much like a toy standing there since, like, the original Marvel Limited series.
Oh, yeah.
Where they were literally just drawing them based on the toys because they didn't have proper character sheets yet.
It's not bad, but it's overly reliant on the toy. It's a little
They
odd.
just look like toys standing there.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just... I guess... Maybe it's just because it's not very dynamically drawn. Like, maybe there are ways in which they could have done that better. But it's not that it's entirely... Well, Megatron's walking with his hands behind his back. That's kind of a neat pose. Mm-hmm. Although Soundwave is standing there in the background, not moving. That's unnerving. And then Megatron jumps up because someone's shooting at him from a balcony. I guess a balcony. It's a little hard to read. Mm-hmm. And then he smashes through a wall to no purpose. That's it.
Like, he just stands there in the last panel talking to 2 guys. 2 awesome-looking generics who show up behind him.
He just Kool-Aid manned, and now he doesn't know what to do.
Oh, yeah, gone. Oh, yeah. He's gone. Well, we'll have an answer later. Yeah, sure.
I need that panel, but just with the little dialogue bubble changed to, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that could be arranged later in the week.
Yeah. But, yeah, it just continues to... I mean, like I've said, is the whole phenomenon with people writing Transformers who don't really get Transformers is that they write it in a way where they're trying to sell you on the concept of Transformers, and if you're, like, actually a part of the fandom, you're sold. You know what's cool about Transformers. You don't need this comic to tell you what's cool. It's like having an entire comic about how great pizza is. It's like, yeah, I know. Why do I need to read this? I already enjoy the pizza.
Kinda, yeah, but like the problem is, I think they're missing the point of why Transformers is fun. Like, there's one transformation in this. It's Gears transforming to a weird truck mode.
I guess there's that too.
So you're skipping over like the big selling point of Transformers. They transform. Which, okay, considering recent IDW stuff and how much we love like Lost Light, like transformation barely happens.
Yeah, but on the other hand...
It's the sci-fi storyness that we love.
On the other hand, transformation was also a vital part of their, like, culture and civilization.
Plot lines, and which I don't even think, like, in Megatron's speech is like, why they're better than other races, like, I guess he's a fascist or something, I don't know what the fuck is actually going on, but he doesn't mention, we transform.
Yeah. Primus created us with our special ability to do things, and...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what I will forgive the IDW stuff for not having nearly enough actual transformation, is at least it was heavily incorporated into their society and religious beliefs and caste system and biases and all of that. So it was, interesting. Also, there was that bit where they had to jump up and down on Ultra Magnus to try to get him to transform, and that makes it all okay. So yeah, it continues to be just extremely underwhelming. I'm a lot more excited about some new Death's Head. This is where I feel like I feel like this has been something that's gotten worse with age, is that I am very bad at being polite about things being terrible. And I feel bad for other professional Transformers people having to say that this is okay, because that's like what's expected of them. Like, maybe they're
the problem is
contractually obligated to not badmouth whatever the next thing is, or...
Well, that and just being generally nice. It's the problem is, this comic, as I see it, isn't terrible. It's just, I don't know where the fuck its direction is going. What's the point? Other than, there's a murder mystery that we've only paid lip service to, and apparently we're going to be starting Autobot Decepticon War at some point, but, like, why should I care about what's happening now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it hasn't given me that yet.
It's not really very good at, like, that. It doesn't have any real depth to it, and it's a little more than a little frustrating. But I suppose I can always go back and reread my older stuff, like I've been meaning to.
Yes.
So, except I won't, because I'll actually work on my novel and hate myself for doing anything other than working on my novel, because that's how brains work. But it's like... it's like...
Yeah.
But it doesn't say we're going to get the next one in 2 weeks, so I guess we'll see when we actually get the next one.
Oh, wait, I think I might have pinpointed another reason I don't quite like it, because, like we were talking about before, it's being written for the trade.
Yeah.
None of the previous two pretty much any series, even the Windblade, felt like they were being written for the trade.
Right. I mean, even if they were being written in like a 5-issue story arc, they didn't feel as much like they were being written for the trade. Yeah,
like the Windblade minis and things. Yeah, it's like each issue, something was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, it's like the mystery in Windblade was like, who was setting the explosions and shit? Oh, it was Chromie and shit, and found out. But it's like, it was easier to get invested in the characters there to go with the story.
Right.
And here, even though it's all familiar characters except for Rubble's actually the most interesting character. Everybody else is just kind of boring.
Yeah. I actually
Rubble's
thought,
at least
let's compare that, though. If you think about the beginning of the Windblade series, she's new to Cybertron, and I felt like the beginning of that really established, like, even if you're someone who is already sold on the pizza, in this case, it was done in such a way as to make you see that all over again, and I don't really feel like this was like that at all.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It was nice having some great stuff while it lasted.
It's I can't even get mad at it like the monkeys last time.
I can get mad at things. I'm good at getting mad at things.
I just don't have emotion for this one. It just exists.
Yeah. That's, like I said, it's adequate. It's just there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sure we'll have more to say once there's another issue, and maybe issue 3 will come out of left field and surprise us, and more likely it will not do that at all. In the meantime, we'll certainly have other news to talk about. So, for now, that's it for this week. So until next time, this has been Jen.
And David.
Good night.
Maybe we should start covering Power Rangers news. That might be more interesting. Since Hasbro now owns Power Rangers, maybe we should incorporate that into our news at some point or something.
I don't care about Power Rangers.
Well, the only news I can think of is that Shout Factory has Sentai series DVDs on sale.
You need to find one of your tokusatsu friends to talk about Power Rangers with, and just send me the podcasts, and I'll upload them for you. If you wanted to do another podcast that I was not involved in, I would absolutely do the hosting for it. Well,
that's the problem. I would love to do another podcast. I don't want to edit another podcast.
Yeah, there's that too.
Like, if I can find somebody else to do the editing and take my coughs out, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
Alas.